The following is a production of 10 Ply Media.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Couch Slots Podcast from a couch. I'm Rocky Persinger. With me, as always, it's my partner in crime, Brent Pickens. What's up, man?
What do you say, Rock?
Oh, just having another lovely week here. I tried to go out this morning and get us a little breakfast, before we started the podcast here on Sunday morning, and it didn't work out for me, man.
Nah, you failed miserably.
I go over here to the for the people who don't live in West Virginia. There's a restaurant called Tudor's Biscuit World, which is a great place for breakfast. So I roll over to Tudor's, and they are backed up out into the road. There's 4 people in the turning lane trying to get into Tudor's.
Oh yeah,
It's ridiculous over here. So then I drive down the road a little ways to McDonald's, and it is backed up out into a 4-lane highway over here by my house. So I said, hell with this. I'm going over to another Tudor's and another McDonald's, so I have options. So I go over to another Tudor's restaurant. They're backed up, wrapped around the building probably twice. And then I finally get to, the McDonald's over there, and it's backed up. It's not as backed up, but I sat in the line for like 5 minutes, and I was like, nope, screw this. Nobody has moved whatsoever. So my point to this whole thing, Pickens, is Dwight Schrute in The Office said it best.
you got it right.
This world needs a new plague.
It does. I fully agree with that.
There's too many damn people when I can't get a damn biscuit at 10:30 in the morning. You know?
Oh yeah, that's.
I mean, you guys just trying to get a decent hearty meal of grease, and you can't do it. I mean, we talked about being so many people when we did our little festivals episode.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Go down to the West Virginia Pumpkin Festival, or that big flea market in Lucasville.
Yeah. I mean,
you just sitting there elbow to elbow.
we could stand to lose a couple of them. I mean, I could name like 15 guys right now, but
I could probably name
at least.
We could do without them. I mean, if they're backing me up in my biscuit line.
Well, I'm thinking of it. I'm tired of these fake ass people too.
Oh boy, here we go.
I'm not going to go any farther with it. I'm being real right now. I can't stand a fake person.
Well,
so
I mean,
many
this
of
is
them.
true. I mean, I don't know what brought on this.
Well,
See, but by proxy, if there were less people total, there would be less fake people.
Well, that is true.
Unless you kill the real ones. But I mean, I don't know. You'd think that like the ratio would equal out if you just popped a few.
I mean, you think so? I mean,
But you can't get around. You can't get anywhere anymore. And we live in West Virginia. It's like a rural.
yeah. I couldn't imagine living in New York or California. Or
No,
something.
screw it, man. I never would. Buddy of mine, his wife is currently living in California, getting some experience as a nurse out there, and man, it's just like bumper to bumper traffic everywhere you go.
Couldn't do it.
No, man, and I complain about the traffic here like it's nothing compared. I went down to Houston one time. They have roads in Houston that are like 20-lane highways. They're like 10 lanes on each side.
I heard about that, and I can barely navigate. Anybody knows me. I've never been anywhere. I've been to Ohio. That's it. So, like when we were taking Hunter up to the Children's Hospital, that blew my mind because we come in at rush hour, and I look up, and I don't understand the lane. Like at a certain time of the day, there's a big X above that lane, and that lane's shut down. I'm like, what the hell is this?
Yeah,
that's going across the bridge. From Covington to Ohio,
yeah,
whatever, or Cincinnati, whatever. But
Columbus or Cincinnati, yeah, you're right.
Because we were staying in Covington.
Yeah, it's Cincinnati. I don't know why I say Columbus.
I'm like, what the hell is this?
Well, yeah, see, and I don't even know about that stuff, man. Like, they have the contra lanes
Yeah.
and the carpool lanes and whatnot.
Yep.
I just roll over in there.
Look,
I mean, haven't been written a
carpool-
ticket yet.
I remember years ago, somebody put a big dummy. I remember seeing on the news.
Oh, yeah.
They had a dummy riding with them just so they were able to drive in the carpool lane or something.
I mean, you got to do what you got to
Hey.
do. I don't think anybody really plays by the rules with those carpool lanes anyway.
I don't think so.
I mean, I don't know.
But that's for bigger cities, though, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
like-
for
like
like
you
bigger
ever-
cities.
yeah.
But you know, I mean, how's a cop going to stop you in 12 lanes of traffic? I mean,
I don't know. I
what are you going to do?
don't have an answer.
What are you
for
going
it.
to do about it? I'm not in the carpool lane.
I mean, hell, when they're doing all it's not so bad now, but when they start all this construction from Hurricane to Milton,
Yeah, which is the interstate that me and Pickens have to drive every day.
Every day.
The bunch of construction going on.
before that, I didn't even know what the hell a contra lane was.
Yeah,
Well, what the hell's this? And then I got it one day and I was like, oh, that means I can't get off at Taze Valley.
right.
or
Yeah,
whatever.
it skips over exits.
I was like, well, that'd been nice to know.
Yeah, I mean, there's a sign there that says that.
Yeah.
But it's like a paragraph of text, and you're driving by it at like 60 miles an hour,
Like-
and you're
like-
supposed to read a paragraph.
Lacey refused to drive the interstate. She's like, I don't understand it. I go 60 the whole way. But yeah, it
Here's the thing about it too, though. There is a posted speed limit sign of 55 in this construction, right?
oh yeah.
There it is. It's not a 55 wind flashing. It's nothing. It is 55,
Like they boarded up to 70 mile an hour,
and
it
it
is
says
55.
55 miles per hour. And they've written 12,000 damn tickets in this little stretch of road.
Oh yeah.
And if I go 60 through there, I'm getting ran off the road
Oh yeah.
by tractor trailers
Well-
coming through there going 90.
Yeah, I don't know how many times I thought I was gonna get hit.
No, it's insane, dude. I'm trying to obey the law
But
here.
I have to obey because I know as soon as I hit 56,
Oh yeah, you done.
I'm getting pulled over.
Oh yeah, you getting a ticket? It's gonna be a $400 ticket.
Oh
You're
yeah.
hosed
Yeah. So
because it's double fines in the construction zone, and
I won't go above 55, but I mean people are rolling at least 65, probably 70 or so.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
mean,
they're hauling.
It's ridiculous. Which, I gotta tell the story of. I think a guy almost shot me one time there. We were coming back from a Cincinnati Reds game, and it was just when they started this construction, and they had one part of the road that's normally 2 lanes was down to 1 lane, and so I'm going 55 the whole way, even though it's a Sunday, because it like I said, it doesn't say 55 when flashing.
No.
It says it's 55 all the way. So I'm going 55. Well, this guy in this big jacked up truck, some asshole comes up behind me, starts flashing his lights at me, telling me to go faster. And he's like, an inch from my bumper. So I'm like, you know what? I'll just slow down to 50. So then he gets really fucking pissed. He starts flashing lights. He's swerving all over the place, but there's nothing he can do.
All right.
So he keeps on it, man. He's cussing. He's, flipping me off out the side of the window, and I'm like, oh, well, guess we're going to have to go down to 45.
Dropping her down. Enough.
Dropping her down another notch. By the time I get to Taze Valley, I'm going like 35 and a 55. And my wife's sitting there like, stop it. And so we get to back where it goes to 2 lanes, and I actually get over. And the guy goes by, and like 4 people come by. They're flipping me off. And I'm laughing the whole time, just losing it, just laughing, because I think that kind of stuff's funny.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I think your papa kind of does the same thing.
Oh, he
So,
does. I mean that for years I'd be riding up with him Red House, and people drive that like it's a racetrack,
Yep.
and there's some real bad spots out there. But Papa always did the speed limit, and if somebody usually is at night.
Yeah.
When it got really bad, and they'd pull up on him, he's doing 45 or whatever. They'd pull up on him. Oh, I'm dropping it down 5 mile an hour.
There you go.
Oh, you putting your high beam on? I'm going to slow down another 5. There's a lot of nights we're going out there going like 15.
That's what. If anybody knows Brent's pawpaw, he does not give a crap.
He does not.
He does not play around either. I mean,
he doesn't.
He kind of, I modeled my life after that guy. Because he hates everybody.
He does.
And he just does not give a crap.
He don't care. He's...
I mean, you got to love him. I remember when I got on his good side. Was when it was his birthday one year. I don't know if you remember this, but I brought it. My papa had given me a hat. And it was kind of, I mean, I won't say nothing, but it's kind of like an old man hat.
The flat bill.
Like a trucker hat, like huge up top.
Right.
Like the top of it. The top of it's like 6 inches off your head. So I'm like, you know what? It's Brent's Pawpaw's birthday. I bring him a little gift. So before this, up to the, I had been at Brent's house 1,000,000 times. The man had never said a word to me. Like he was just like, I'd be like, hey, how's it going? He'd be like, So he never says a word to me. I bring him this hat, right? And then from that point forward, me and him were like best friends.
Oh yeah,
it was like it was like night and day. And I just love that man. It's hilarious.
Oh,
he kills me.
He's great. I love him to death.
Yeah. But and there's another guy that would probably agree with us. There's just too many darn people in the world.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
And we need a new plague.
Yeah, no doubt. That's
so I've said before on other podcasts that it's my goal to just be a curmudgeon-y old man.
Oh yeah.
And just kind of sit there. Like I said before, they canceled Friday night fights, so I can't sit there and cuss at the fights.
I think when I get old enough, I'm just gonna watch reruns.
If we can find old, like if they would sell Friday night fights on DVD, I'd sit there and watch them. I mean, I ain't gonna lie, just so I can sit there in my old beat up chair, and just cuss at the world.
Your wife walks in, just grunt at her.
You just grunt. Because it's like 30 years past giving a crap about
That's
her.
right. And you gotta have your own. You gotta have your own spot.
There you go.
I'll never forget Papa when they had the couch like run with the wall, and then the love seat where the back of it was toward the kitchen. Mama sat there. Papa sat on the first spot on the couch, farthest from the TV, and he just I don't know. Like I remember it like it was yesterday.
Well, to this day. That's kind of their
It's
setup.
still the same. It is still the same.
You go to their house, they've got a couch on one side, a love seat on the other. Your mama sits on that love seat, and your papa sits on the first spot on the couch.
Yep.
And they switched houses.
It's a different house.
It's a different house, but it's the exact same setup.
Different couch, love seat, but it's still the same setup.
I mean, you got so how many years have they been married now?
Oh my gosh.
68?
Something like that. It was 67, 68, something like
that. They were married since they were
18.
And then they're in their 80s.
Oh, they're in their 80s. Yeah, 87 or 88.
Yeah, so they've been married damn near 70 years.
Almost, they've been married longer than a lot of people live.
That's real. And, that's just some good relationship advice, man. You got to have your own spot.
You got to have your own spot. And I'll tell you, for years, of course, Papa, you did the knife. He does knife. It makes knives. Not so much anymore, but he used to. But I'll never forget. But me and him were always outside doing something, and I think that's a big thing. You have to have your own space.
Yep.
And even if they got into a fight, I don't know how many times. I don't know if I want to call it a fight, a squabble, or whatever.
Yeah.
I was like, ugh, and he'd just go outside. He'd just grunt and just go outside, and they wouldn't talk for the whole day. But then that evening or around lunchtime, Mom was like, you hungry? And then he's like, yeah. And Mom would make him food. They'd sit there and he'd eat and go back out. And then later this evening, that evening, he'd come back in and watch TV.
There you go.
But
So for young married couples out there, just have your own spot, man.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can't be up on each other at all times, or you'll kill each other.
No, you can be around each other too much.
And I don't know how some couples, they work together too.
Oh, hell with that.
I don't know how, you got to go. Allison has her, she works at the grocery store her family owns, and I I work at Columbia Gas, and we got 8 hours. We're apart, and we come back, and then I even have my little office here that we're in, which is really just a game and guitar room. It's not much of an office, or a study, if you will.
Study? That's
trying
nice.
to bring back the study.
That's nice.
Trying to make that happen again. But and then my dad, he's got he built an entire separate building on his house so he could go out and work on his motorcycle and stuff like that. And he's got a pretty darn good setup. I don't know if I've told you. So he got diabetes. He damn near passed out at work. He had to go to the hospital. They found out he had diabetes. So and Dad, for years and years, he loved Budweiser, like regular Budweiser, not Bud Light, like Budweiser. So he got this diabetes, man. He couldn't drink Budweiser anymore. It was a rough go of it. And he would, if people wanted something done, he'd trade him a case of Budweiser, to have it done. The guy loved his Budweiser. And then we even brewed beer from time to time that he really liked. But so he had to start. With the diabetes, he had to start drinking Michelob Ultra Light, which is basically water.
Yeah.
With a little bit of beer flavoring, with gold food color in it. So he decided that if he was going to drink crappy beer, he was going to get it on tap. So it would be, because, he likes draft beer better than regular beer, like in the bottle. Right. So he gets this, he knows this guy, who, for some reason, he has a bunch of those old, the Pepsi fridges that you see at the store where they have, Pepsis in them.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so Dad got one of those and made it into a kegerator.
Nice.
So he puts his keg of Michelob Ultralight in there, and, he's got it in this little freezer, basically. And then he's got a tube running out of the keg, and it runs out to a tap. And he's got his beer on tap there.
Nice.
It's a pretty legit setup, man. It's just like a bar. I even actually, when we set up the keg, if anybody's ever tried to set up a keg before, if you don't have the right size tubing, or you don't have your pressure just right, like you'll get your beer will be really like fizzy, and it'll just like spit out. Like the tap will just spit. So I even looked up a formula online to calculate the length and the diameter of the tube he needed from the, which I guess that's why it pays off having an engineer for a son.
Yeah. Because
I looked up this formula and I did this big calculation, and I was like, you're going to need like 6 feet of 3/8 inch hose or something like that. And he had like 4 feet of 1/4 inch hose. So it was a little bigger, and, maybe it's like 3/16 or whatever, whatever I told him. But yeah, so I calculated it's a scientific process, this beer on tap thing. But yeah, so I don't know how we got there from too many people in the world. But have your own space too.
Have your own space.
That's
little advice.
A little advice in life. I didn't even know this was an advice
podcast,
but here we go. We got into it.
We cover all bases.
We cover all bases. One other thing before we get into our main topic of the show this week, which the main topic of our show is conspiracy theories.
That's right, conspiracy theories, and we're not talking about the movie with Mel Gibson. Yeah.
Which movie are you talking?
Conspiracy Theory.
He have a movie called Conspiracy Theory?
Yes.
I mean, I thought you were talking about Signs for a second there.
No, not Signs. Conspiracy Theory.
I don't think I've ever seen Conspiracy Theory.
You gotta check it out.
I mean, I guess now I do.
You have to check it out.
I didn't even know there was a Mel Gibson movie I haven't seen.
Yep.
So.
Oh yeah.
But
I'll show you the trailer later.
Before we get to that, I got to talk about a guy here, and he's been doing it for weeks and weeks, but we just forgot to talk about it. There's a guy that does videos about Tom Brady online. And it's basically Tom Brady throwing these little dinky passes, and the guy's like, "Oh, look at this throw! Nobody can make this throw except Tom Brady. He's 41. He's 41." And it's just hilarious. He's like, Aaron Rodgers, Peyton Manning, Drew Brees, none of them could make this throw.
Who else could make this 4-yard slant pass to a wide open receiver?
The one about Gronk too that you were saying is hilarious. Who else could throw to a 6'9", 280-pound monster who's wide open? But if you get a chance, I just wanted to mention that real quick. Like look up these Tom Brady videos because they're hilarious. I'd also like to have one done with Aaron Rodgers of him just throwing 50-yard bombs all the time. But yeah, it's hilarious, man.
Yeah, they
because it is. If you look at Tom Brady, man, he throws these little like 4-yard passes or like screen passes behind the line of scrimmage. There was one of them. The guy was like, you can hear Tom Brady in the background, like, "You get that first down. You go get that first down," and he did. He's like, that's why Tom Brady's the greatest because he inspired that guy to run for that first down. But yeah, the Tom Brady videos are freaking hilarious, man. I roll laughing, and the guy's been doing one like every week.
Yeah,
and it just keeps getting better and better. It's killing me. But so we're 20 minutes in here, and so that gives us about 40 minutes to talk about our different conspiracy theories. Yeah. Which I don't know. This might be a reoccurring segment because me and Pickens love freaking conspiracy theories.
We do. We really do. Well, we could talk about one thing for the whole show.
We probably could, but
it may happen. I don't know.
We don't know how far we're going to get here. I have a list of conspiracy theories that I've written down. I don't know if anybody's going to be into this, but we don't care because we like talking about it.
That's right.
So here we go. The first big conspiracy theory, and me and Pickens have had arguments here. Off the air.
Oh, yeah.
Did NASA fake the moon landing?
Hell yeah, they did.
Oh, boy. See, here we go. Now, for those of you that don't know, I have a degree in aerospace engineering.
Yeah, he's living a lie.
I'm not living a lie.
He's living a lie.
The man's basically saying that science is a lie.
Yep, that's right.
I mean, this
Earth is flat, too. Nah, just kidding.
Oh, boy. See, we'll get to that later.
But it's interesting because, me and a couple guys at work, anytime somebody new comes in the shop, we're like, we'll just ask, you think they faked the moon landing?
Oh, boy.
And I will say, there's more people that believe they faked it than you think.
Well, that's just because
and I'm not saying. Well, let me elaborate. I think we've made it there now. But do I think they landed in, what was it, 69?
69, yeah.
Do I think they landed in 69? No.
See, I don't
because
know,
my whole thing on it is, if you're racing somebody some way anywhere, if they believe that you can beat them there, they have no reason to go. Because you've already been there.
Well, and the Russians did kind of quit after we landed on the moon.
Yeah, after we faked landed on the moon.
Oh, my God. So, there's
you seen The Rock with the Sea? You seen it?
Oh, boy. So, the conspiracy theory is that NASA did not land on the moon. In fact, they shot the moon landing on a set in Hollywood.
Silence on the set.
Oh, boy. Well, I don't even know if the video really had sound on the moon. I mean, I guess just the sound from the astronauts' radios. Is that your radio?
That was my radio.
I don't think that really. All right.
Action.
So, I think they said that Stanley Kubrick, who did 2001: A Space Odyssey, directed the whole thing and shot it. One funny thing is I would like you to go meet Buzz Aldrin and tell him that the moon landing's fake.
Oh, we've already talked.
No, did you talk?
Yeah.
Because
I didn't want to let that out, but
I know you didn't talk because you don't have a black eye. That's how I know you didn't.
No,
talk.
he is too.
Oh boy, Buzz Aldrin would kick your ass. I'm sorry.
Man, I'm sorry.
He's a 90-year-old man. He would still whoop you.
You tell me that his speech, one giant step.
Well, that wasn't Buzz Aldrin. That was Neil Armstrong. Neil Armstrong was the first guy to allegedly land on the moon.
I'm sorry, I got him mixed up.
Buzz Aldrin was the second guy. So I mean, well,
Well,
but
anyway.
he's more outspoken than Neil Armstrong. You know.
You telling me Neil's saying that? You buy that?
Yeah, well, he messed up the line, man. He was supposed to say like one small step for a man and one giant leap for mankind. And he said one small step for man, He didn't say a man.
Yep.
I mean, he messed up the line.
Yep.
Maybe that was a directing thing. Maybe Kubrick was sitting over there and didn't direct him correctly.
I mean maybe, but I'm just saying. If you're on the moon,
so we got to talk about the flag. The allegedly
flag flapping. What's it flapping for?
It's flapping because they took it out of the freaking lunar lander.
Oh, here we go.
They planted it in the ground, and the force of them planting it in the ground shook the pole. As the pole was shaking, it shook the flag, and since there was little to no gravity, the flag was all wavy like that.
Y'all hear this out here? You hear this explanation?
It did not look natural. How could have they done it on Earth if it was just like very gently waving because of the force? I mean, it's Newton's third law, Pickens. For every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. So there was the action of planting the flag in the moon, which they did because they were on the moon, and it started waving back and forth. I mean,
I don't know what to say to you right now.
That's that's the science is sound on it, man. It makes sense. I don't it's not flapping in the wind. It's moving because they moved it, and then it kept flapping because there's no air resistance to keep it from flapping, and two, because the pole was shaking because they just planted it in the freaking ground.
I don't know. We're gonna have to give a replay of this footage. Play the footage. Play.
There's no video here
Because it's fake.
Oh my God! You just said they had video, but the video was fake. Now you're saying there's no video. This is ridiculous. We landed on the moon, man.
How about the rock with the sea? What was there sea on the
Okay,
rock
so there is a prop, allegedly,
that they used in the fake moon
there's
landings?
a rock in the pictures that allegedly has a letter C on it.
Yep.
Which
Let's see you explain this one, big guy.
aliens.
Oh,
The aliens went up to the moon, and they drew the letter C.
I mean that.
I mean, and
I can't dispute that.
That's right. You can't dispute it. Just like you make all these wild claims, and I can't dispute it. I mean, but the flag physics makes sense.
Well, I do. I could buy that. I could buy what you're saying with the flag.
One thing about Pickens, though, he does think we went back to the moon later.
Yeah, I'm not saying but I'm just saying in '69, if you drove anything from the 60s, I just don't see how you can have the capability to make it to the moon in the '60s.
I mean, they use less computing power than we have in an iPhone to make it to the moon. Just because of rocket science, man.
I don't know.
Have you never seen October Sky?
I've seen it.
That's a West Virginia classic.
Oh, here we go.
Homer Hickam.
Oh my goodness.
Homer Hickam. What do you know about that? Rocket science. The science works out.
I'm just saying. I don't know.
Isaac Newton. He had gravity. He figured it out.
I'm just saying. On one of the movies I watched, it was a documentary. I can't remember the name of it, or I'd recommend it. But they were talking. It may have been one of the ones on YouTube. I'm not sure, but there was an incident.
That's where you get your information. YouTube.
No,
good job.
This was an actual.
Anyway, sure it was.
Anyway, the year before
they faked the documentary.
The year before they landed, or before they supposedly landed, they were training, and I guess a couple of them. Well, a guy brought up one of the astronauts brought up the safety violations. He was worried about there's equipment malfunction and this and that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then the year before all that happened, they were in training because he was threatening to go to the media and expose all this. Well, then the year that all this happened, 3 of them burn up in a training mission, like in one of the simulation in the space shuttle.
Which it's just a rocket.
It was a rocket, whatever. It was a training exercise. I guess.
Right.
They burn up in it.
Well,
and I'm just saying, a year late, and that was a year before they landed on the moon, and then a year later, they make it to the moon. It's just hard for me to believe.
They made corrections, man.
Which it's a possibility. But I kind of think that they shut him up because he was getting ready to expose NASA, and
here's what it was.
They shut the man up.
Let me explain that to you. What happened there was, this guy was jealous of the Apollo 11 astronauts because he didn't get selected for the mission. And he tried to belittle their accomplishment and besmirch their good name. That's all that was.
I feel like Bill Stewart's gonna come in here. Are you gonna slide a Bill Stewart reference?
I might.
I feel.
You never know. But that guy was just trying to besmirch the good name of Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin and the other guy that nobody remembers, and he was just jealous, and that's why he had.
So they shut him up and killed him.
Well, they very well may have, but I'm just saying, he was just jealous. None of that stuff he was saying was true. Just because a couple of them burn up a little bit. We saw Apollo 1. They didn't get it right till Apollo 11. Apollo 1 was on the launch pad and just freaking blew up. And killed like 5 guys. So, there were trials and tribulations associated with the moon, getting to the moon. And but the thing is, we had a lot of resources working on that stuff. So that's why the quick turnaround, I'm saying.
Well,
from blowing up 1 year before to the next year being able to go, they just had so many people working on it. The whole U.S. was focused on this. We got to beat the Russians, which that's the big argument about the moon landing is we just had to beat the Russians because the Russians beat us to space.
Yep.
So here's the thing, though: if we faked the moon landing, why didn't we fake the space thing? We could have faked that because we made it to space.
Maybe they didn't.
Maybe
they were working on it, but then the Russians just beat them to it.
Maybe the Russians made up that they went to space.
Well, that's a possibility.
Maybe the Russians are... But I will say, my dad, when he was a kid, he remembers going out and seeing the thing go across the sky because you could see it, in space. But I don't know, man. Well, one cool thing about the moon... conspiracy theory aside for a sec, one cool thing, the third guy who was on the moon landing, allegedly or not allegedly, he took a picture, and I saw this thing on Facebook the other day. He took a picture of Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin on the moon from the lunar lander, and it had Earth in the background. So it said, and this blew my mind because it's actually true. He's like, out of all the people who have lived or ever lived or were alive at the time, that guy taking the picture is the only one not in the photograph. Think about that. So he's taking a picture of the Earth and the 2 guys on the moon. So he's the only being that had ever lived or was alive at that time that wasn't in that photograph.
That's pretty crazy.
That's pretty legit, man. But anyway, the photograph though was just in a studio in L.A. So yeah, it didn't really matter. It wasn't really true.
Hey,
like they had a matte painting in the background of the Earth. Is that what it was? They had a big painting in the back of the Earth.
They maybe have.
So at least Pickens thinks we went later. But I'm like, when else did we go? Like we went back a couple times, and we then we took the lunar rover. We drove the car around on it.
Yep.
I did read the other day that apparently the flag that Buzz Aldrin originally planted in the moon has fallen over. So it's not. So it's probably still waving. I mean,
Probably
I'm just
still
saying.
waving.
It's probably still out there waving in a weird way.
Probably is.
But yeah, man, that's the one conspiracy theory that I just don't really buy into is that they faked the moon landing because, I'm a big proponent of science and that stuff. I believe science way over like religion.
Yeah.
But, sometimes scientists make up stuff too. But so you never really know.
Yeah,
You never really know. One thing I do know is though because So we'll skip over one here for a sec because the next conspiracy theory is Area 51.
Yep.
That that aliens crashed in Roswell, New Mexico in 1947, July 7th, 1947, to be exact. It looks like here, and it says there are as many as 11 crash sites in Roswell. Which what the aliens were doing in Roswell when nobody else was around, who really knows? But, so because of the space race, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because of trying to get to the moon, it's said that a lot of technology was developed because we were trying to get to the moon. So, microwave ovens, for instance, those came, by way of the space race. Tang. That's the only other one I can think of right now. But my theory is that the aliens did crash in Roswell, 1947. And we used that technology to better our own technology to come out with stuff that, the computers and the modern technology that you see today.
I could believe it. I mean, because you look at the difference between then and then now, and
I mean, it's exponential. It's crazy.
It really is.
So that's why I think they salvaged, technology from that alien spacecraft and used it to benefit ourselves. And then that allowed us to get to the moon. That's what I'm saying.
I believe because you say what you want, but something they're doing something at Area 51. I mean, something's going on.
Something's going on out there. They won't let anybody there.
I mean, there's been numerous accounts of video, not video, but of just people being threatened of being shot and
get off the land and all that.
If there's not something going on there, then why is the military that aggressive with just civilians?
Yeah. See, I think the aliens crashed in 47, right? So we started using all this technology. And then I think that most of the UFO sightings since then have been aircraft that we ourselves have made.
Oh, yeah.
And people are seeing that. Because you always hear about the big triangle spacecraft, which was a certain project. I forget what the project is called right now off the top of my head.
Yeah.
But the theory is we basically used the alien technology to make our own aircraft and spacecraft, and I think there's something to that, man.
Yeah.
Because like you said, something happened there.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, we had no technology hardly at all.
Yeah.
Part of it was World War II, because people found more efficient ways to kill each other. And then, after World War II, this crash happens. And then all of a sudden, we've got computers, and we're going to the moon, and all this stuff. So that's my conspiracy. I think we went to the moon in '69, but I think the aliens helped us to get there because of their technology. So I don't think we did it by ourselves. Is what I'm saying.
I could buy into that.
I mean, but Area 51 itself, man, and you see, what first got me interested was, again, our favorite show of all time, The X-Files.
Yes.
Because Mulder, there's an early on episode where...
I think it's like a third or fourth, because a Navy, a pilot or something goes missing.
The pilot goes missing, and then he shows back up at the house, right? And there's something wrong with him.
Right.
He's all like, he's kind of like sunburned and crap, right? And then he won't say anything, like he just like dazes out, and Mulder and Scully try to get into the Area 51. They try to get into the base. They sneak in there with a bunch of kids and stuff. Yep. Mulder gets arrested. He sees some stuff. So that kind of piqued my curiosity of like, what happened here, in Area 51 that, like, in real life, as opposed to the whole X-Files thing, which that's a great episode of the X-Files.
It really is.
That's when I think that shows at its best when they're after like the aliens and stuff.
Oh, it is.
Yeah,
I think that's that's why I love the show so much.
Yeah, yeah. They had the whole monster of the week thing, but when they're after the aliens, that's where But yeah, man, I'd really like to go to like Roswell and stuff, just see if you see anything. The aliens would have to be stupid now to come back to Roswell. Like, you got all these people out there looking. But, the government's still out there doing something to this day. We don't know what it is. Area 51. So anyway, I think that whole thing happened.
Oh, yeah. I do too.
So, the next thing I've written down here is the JFK assassination. As a conspiracy theory. So Pickens, give your thoughts on the JFK assassination and what's going on.
My thoughts. I think Oswald was a pawn. I really think he was a pawn. I think there was another shooter too. I think they had he was working up there, and they just set him up. He took the fall for all of it.
Yeah,
because it's hard for me to buy that they he shot JFK and they found him. I think it was like 8 or 12 minutes later, walking down. Well, they found him in the theater.
Yeah.
I don't know. It to me, even now, if somebody, if something happens, 8 or 12 minutes, that's pretty quick turnaround for shooting somebody and then finding him.
Yeah, that is pretty crazy if you think about it.
I think there's another shooter.
So you hear about the grassy knoll.
Yeah, the grassy knoll. And real quick, I am going to bring up a movie. I'm not saying it's accurate, but it's a really good movie. Kevin Costner's in it.
Yeah, it's
JFK. If you ever get a chance, it'd be you need to check it out.
Yeah.
If anybody out there that hadn't seen it, because it's a really good movie. It's not accurate, but I like it because it puts a different spin on it.
Yeah.
Because I've watched a lot of stuff on the JFK assassination. They had a thing on Netflix, the 24 hours after JFK was assassinated.
Which I need to check that out.
Yeah, it's really interesting how quick they swore in LBJ. I mean, they knew he was dead, but I don't think them on the plane. I think when they were on Air Force One, they knew he was shot. No one, because I think a lot of people didn't know how bad it actually was.
Yeah.
But I don't know. There's a lot of interesting theories on it, and I don't know say I've watched everything, but I've watched a lot of stuff on it.
Yeah.
And when Jack Ruby killed Oswald, I think whoever it was, they hired Jack Ruby to kill Oswald to shut him up.
Yeah.
Because I'm not saying Oswald didn't have some ties to somewhere in it, but I believe that I don't believe he was the mastermind behind. I don't know. It just doesn't.
That's the thing that gets me, right?
Yeah.
If they would have been better off, whoever planned this thing, they would have been better off, I think, to let Oswald live.
Yeah.
Because, well, one, they were afraid he was going to, give him up. But it makes it, the doubts came in when he got killed.
Yeah.
Because nobody would question if it's like, this guy, okay, this guy, he killed JFK, whatever, and then, but why does somebody come in afterwards and kill him?
Right.
Unless he had something, that he wasn't supposed to tell anyone.
And then somebody said they got on a thing where they thought Jack Ruby was the mastermind behind it. Well, Jack Ruby was he was a guy that worked for the mob. He wasn't smart enough to be. I mean, there's a lot of people that said he wasn't smart enough to be behind this huge plot. So like I said, there's a lot of interesting stuff about this.
So one show that I've watched a couple times on the History Channel about the JFK thing is them trying to recreate the shot.
Yeah.
And they've got Marine Corps snipers in there and stuff, and they can't recreate the shot.
Yeah.
Of somebody going 15 miles an hour or so in a motorcade from I don't know how far away it was, 200 yards away or whatever, with a rifle, and you're not an expert marksman.
Yeah.
Like, how do you make that shot?
And they said it's impossible to get 3 shots off with that gun in the amount of time the amount of time it took. Because I can't remember what it was.
Well, so the show I watched, they were trying to determine how many shots it would take to make that happen. Because JFK got hit in the head, and then the guy in the front seat got hit in the back, and they were trying to line up, could a single bullet have done that? And they kind of concluded that it couldn't have.
Right.
So there had to be,
See, though, I watched something like that, but they were trying to do it with computer.
Yeah.
Because they were doing the degree of, okay, he's up in the book depository, and for him for the shot to line up right, a lot of things would have had to line to go in their favor. And, like you say, he's going 15 mile an hour.
I mean, hit him right in the head, man.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty. You watch the video; it's pretty freaking graphic.
I know Oswald was in the military, and he was a pretty good shot. But I don't know the whole thing. I don't know if he wasn't no sniper, was he?
I don't think so. I mean, that's something we could probably look up, but I don't know, man. I think maybe the snipers today, like Chris Kyle, they have computers built onto their guns, right? That tells them the wind and all this stuff, and it makes the adjustment for them. You know, they might be able to pull that shot off, but some guy with a hunting rifle, no computers, no spotter, no nothing, just to make that shot is completely insane. And a headshot at that, I don't know, man. That's hard to swallow.
And not only getting one shot off is enough, but I think it was 3 shots.
Yeah.
And he's going away from you, and you get 3, because after the first shot, people are going to be looking. So that's why I'm a big believer that there was there had to be another shooter. But I don't know. This is one of these things that has been talked about for a long time.
And I wish I would have watched one of those shows again to refresh my memory on it before we did this. But we just want to talk about some conspiracy theories, and that's a big one out there. And actually, Brent was reading an article before this that linked the JFK assassination to 9/11 being an inside job.
Yeah.
Because apparently there was this thing in the 60s or 50s or 60s that the Cubans, which of course were backed by the Russians, were providing terrorists, basically, and there was a plan by the Cubans and the Russians to hijack commercial aircraft clear back in the 60s and run them into buildings. And, Kennedy was the one who solved the whole Cuban Missile Crisis. stuff like that. So the Cubans and the Russians, were behind this whole terrorist outcome for 9/11. That was one conspiracy theory that I hadn't heard before.
I haven't either, and it's called. If anybody wants to research it, check it out. It's called Operation Northwoods. So that's the first time I've heard of this.
Yeah.
So it's one of those. It's kind of interesting because that
Right.
I mean that like I said, I've never heard of it before, and then that kind of makes you wonder if Castro was somehow involved on killing JFK.
Oh, I'm sure.
Because that's one of those JFK made him look made him look bad a couple times, so that
Yeah, and Castro's he's not afraid to kill.
right.
You
So
know.
I could see something like that happening. So
But yeah, man, it's just the whole thing surrounding JFK is one of the great mysteries that will never be solved. There's not enough evidence to go back now.
no,
Nobody's ever going to really know what happened. Because this day and age, you probably couldn't get away with stuff like that. But
no, there's too much. There's too much the media and everything.
everybody's got a camera.
Yeah.
Like if there would be 8,000 angles of video you could watch, today, this day and age, unless the government was in on it.
And I don't, maybe not, but I feel like people nowadays wouldn't be scared to stand up and say something. Back then you only had you had a few eyewitnesses.
Yeah.
But then they got scared because some of these eyewitnesses ended up turning up dead.
Yeah.
And this and that. And I feel like today, nowadays people be like, I feel like people as a whole aren't as intimidated as they were in the 60s and 70s.
Well, and that's why the mafia doesn't exist anymore.
Right.
Because, people can just out you on Twitter.
Yeah.
People will be tweeting like, here's my video of, the JFK assassination, and it would show up online, and there would be 1,000 videos on YouTube of, hey, this is what happened with JFK, and all this stuff. So yeah, man, they're and the mafia. I was actually there's a lot of conspiracy theories too with the mafia. We didn't have this on our list, but I was watching a thing the other day, an interview with a mob boss who had actually got out. His name's Michael Francisi. I don't know if you've ever heard of this guy, but he used to be a big boss in the mob, and they call him the real life Michael Corleone. Basically.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So. But he actually got out of what he calls it, the life, or the mafia. And he was talking about how, why the mob doesn't exist anymore and stuff like that. It's just because, like you said, people aren't really as intimidated anymore. There's not they just tweet. They'll just tweet out like, these people are trying to get protection money from me and all this stuff. But he was one of the richest mob bosses ever. I think the only person they estimate out-earned him was Al Capone.
Wow.
And you can look this guy up. His name's Michael Francisi. But he was making $8 million a week.
Jeez.
And the way he was doing it was gasoline. So he started a gasoline company and started opening up gas stations. And he would come into an area and he would tell there'd be 4 gas stations on a corner, right? He would come into an area and say, look, I can get this stuff way cheaper than you. He's like, so if you don't cooperate and we sell this gas at this price, I'm going to keep lowering my stuff and I'm going to run you out of business. So then they had this pact where they would sell gas at the same price, and then he was taking taxes, some of the government's tax money, and hiding it away on every gallon of gas. And he was hiding it away in some account, and he was doing this. It was something to do with taxes, and he took a little bit off the top of the taxes, put it into an account or something, and he was making $8 million a week doing this.
Holy cow!
People buying gas.
That's insane.
You know, so because you think of like the mob as, you know, just running like, you know, a business as a front, and then they have, you know, some gambling in the back.
Right.
You don't think of the mob as, you know, the oil company.
Right.
You know, which it's pretty crazy, you know, how really, you know, interconnected the and how deep, you know, the mob was at the time. And, you know, he ended up eventually getting caught. He did some time in prison. And then when he got out of prison, he moved to like California and just said, "No, I'm not doing this anymore." And when he was doing the interview, he was talking about, you know, he's still like looking over his shoulder and stuff to see if these guys were coming after him.
Oh,
but since he wasn't in New York, like, and he said since he never like ratted anybody out or anything, they weren't actively like still, you know, coming after him. But yeah, man, it was on YouTube, another great source of information, like I said before. But he you know, he got out of the mob and was kind of, he never mentions any names or anything, but he talks about the mafia and life, or as he called it. So anyway, I think we got time for one more conspiracy theory here. We have a list of about 10, but let's see, what do we want to go with next here? I'm thinking Bigfoot.
I like it.
So, you know, there's a theory out there that there is a large ape-like creature in the woods of probably, you know, specifically the Pacific Northwest in the U.S., like Oregon, Washington, places like that. You know, and there's some pictures of him. You know, it's kind of lumped in with the Loch Ness Monster.
It is.
Bigfoot and the Loch Ness, you know, Loch Ness Monster, about 350.
350.
But, you know, Bigfoot, man, is it possible that there's an ape species out there that is the missing link between us and the apes that is out there, you know, that we can't find?
I don't see how you can say, because there's not something out there.
Yeah, but at the same time, you know, like we said before, everybody's got a freaking cell phone.
It's true.
And when's the last time you saw a credible, like, Bigfoot video with a cell phone?
Well, even the picture, the
all
original
fuzzy.
picture is all fuzzy. I mean, that could have been somebody in a costume. It's kind of hard.
There's a comedian, I don't know which comedian it was, but he said maybe Bigfoot's just fuzzy. Like, that's how he looks. You know, like he's out of focus. Like his, you know, it's just how he looks in real life.
That one's, it's hard to buy.
I still, you know, maybe there was something out there at some point, but I just don't. I can't remember the last time there was a Bigfoot sighting, man.
Well, and these stupid monster hunter things,
Yeah.
they've ruined all that, because they, like, oh, you hear that rustling in the bushes, and it's like, what?
So this is, we were talking last night. I went over to one of Allison's friend's house, and we were talking, you know, just kind of about weird stuff that had happened to people, you know, like ghost story type stuff, you know. And I don't know, man. It's just funny to me watching those like ghost adventure shows. You ever watch those?
Yeah.
Those are hilarious because it's like they're sitting there in their night vision, you know, camera, and they're like, "Shh, did you hear that? Did you hear that?" And then they're like, "Is there anybody with us?" And then they're, you know, they've got their white noise generator and all this crap, and it's, you know, it says yes or whatever, you know. Those just crack me up because there's no way in hell that any of that crap, you know, which maybe I kind of believe sometimes maybe there's definitely stuff out there that we can't explain, right? That's kind of the conspiracy theory thing as a whole,
Right.
right? Kind of to wrap up here, because there's definitely stuff out there that we can't explain.
There's stuff we can't explain, and there's stuff that the government covers up. I mean that's anything.
Yeah.
To an extent. I mean it. Like one day they'll be they'll make this plague, or not really a plague, but this outbreak.
Yeah.
And I'm
the zombies are going to happen.
I'm a firm believer in they make this outbreak because they pull a Kansas City shuffle. They get you to look over here, and they're over here.
Oh, boy.
That's right. But there's just too much. There's always something new coming out, and that's the big thing with the conspiracy. There's always going to be something.
Yep.
They want, okay, people are paying too much attention to this, so we're going to get you to look over here for just a little bit so we can make this over here disappear.
You see that all the time in the news cycle these days, especially with our president the way he currently is, with Twitter.
Yeah.
He uses Twitter to distract people from the real stuff that's actually going on.
Right.
Like, oh, look, Stormy Daniels.
Yeah.
Over here. I slept with the porn star.
Yeah.
And then, like, on the other hand, he's like, there's some shady stuff going on.
Oh, yeah.
But people are so fixated on that
Yep.
that they don't see, the other stuff going on. So it's just crazy about how, every time something big happens, there's another new scandal that pops up to distract you from the real issue.
Yep.
And that is why that there are conspiracy theories, and there will continue to be conspiracy theories, out into the future.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Any big thing that happens, there's going to be, conspiracy theory about it. So, but that's about it for this week, man. We still got some conspiracy theories on the list we might go through in the coming weeks.
Yep.
That might be a little recurring segment. Like we'll look at one little conspiracy theory,
that.
and we'll kind of dissect it and give our thoughts on it. I don't know if anybody will be into that, but we like talking about it. So there we are. But guys, this has been another episode of the Couch Thoughts Podcast. Thanks again for listening. You can find us on Facebook at the Couch Thoughts Podcast. This episode's available on iTunes, Podomatic, Google Play, and Stitcher. And then there's also the YouTube channel where you can see all of our past content. And then finally on Twitter at Couch Thought Pod. Hit us up, Facebook, Twitter, wherever. Let us know what you think of the podcast. And we'll be back next time. Until next podcast. Later.